This is confused as before. Thank you. Moving on now to the next item, which is a Meadows Place City Council regular meeting. This is a biggie. This is we're not starting. Yes, we are. It is 6:30 p.m. This is a Meadows Place City Council regular meeting, March 22nd, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. We are online, so people are able to watch us. Everybody wave. Item number one is call to order with the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation. Cameron, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? And Jimmy Fenwick's going to lead us in our invocation. Everybody remain standing, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. God, we thank you so much for allowing us to gather in this place. God, I just thank you so much for Meadows Place. I thank you for every resident, for all of our staff, employees, volunteers, everybody who commits to make this place an amazing place to live. God, as we look to the business of our city, God, I ask that you are present and with us during this meeting, that you go before us and already prepare the way, because we've got a lot to come. God, do not let us forget that we are doing this because we have an amazing city. Working towards that. God, I just ask that you are with us. Watch over and protect our first responders. Watch over and protect all of our residents. Be with us. Amen.
Amen. All right. We're moving on to item B, presentations. I understand, Chief, we have a service recognition, but no person. All right, I just want to confirm that. Scheduling for PD sometimes is interesting, but we do want to recognize for 5 years of service, Officer and Police Dispatcher Yadira Rodriguez. For everybody in this room and everybody on this council, and certainly for all the officers in this room, everybody understands the importance of dispatch and the struggles a little town like ourselves had getting there. And I don't think anybody will appreciate how hard the chief has worked to put us in a position of having full and part-time and covered up hours with dispatchers here in Meadows Place. And Chief, I thank you for that, as I do thank Ms. Rodriguez for her service. And I'm assuming you'll pass out the pen and all the stuff. All right, thank you very much. And if I could, let me drop this to you. This is from Mary to Richmond. If you would, thank you. All right, Mary, my job's done. Okay. Now, let me ask by show of hands, how many people are here to talk about dogs? Okay. Item number one under reports is a police report by Chief Gary Stewart. Chief, let me pull mine out, and if you would, go.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Once again, we come with a report this month, and as always, I start with our number of accidents. Sorry about that. Turned it off. The past month, we had 10 accidents. I do want to make mention that there was none in the roundabouts at all. They were in various locations, so there's no determined trend of any kind. Number of arrests were 14. Number of calls for service was 1,721 with 47 report calls. Traffic citations issued, there was a 192 with charges of 382. City ordinance violations 4 issued. Warnings issued for traffic were 98 with charges of 168. Warnings issued for city ordinance violation 9, and the total activity count is 2,355. Activity for this past month, we had 4 assaults. We had 3 burglary motor vehicle, 0 burglary residence, and 0 burglary of business. We had 13 city ordinance, and I'm going to explain those in a few moments. 0 for criminal mischief, fraud, or robbery this month. All good. Total property checks, 1,141. Theft was 5. UMV, or unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, we had 3. And our TLC program, we had 28 pass, 11 failures for a total of 39 contacts. The city ordinance breakdown, which is below, we did issue warnings for solicitors. We had 6 contacts with that, 6 warnings. 1 for a loose dog, 1 for junk vehicle, and 1 for fireworks. We did have city ordinance violation with a citation issued. We had 3 false alarms at Sterling McCall, and 1 code enforcement for dumping. There were 10 reportable accidents, as I mentioned before, and I've already covered those, and there's none in the roundabouts. Moving on to Chief's Notes. As always, I've put into the Chief's Notes the calls for service that were there that, as you all can look through them yourselves when it comes to assaults and so forth and so on. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. And if we'll move on to the page 5. Correction, page 4. The more arrests we have, the more pages it takes. Kind of wanted to go over again, as I always do now. We talk about flock safety. You can see the total number of hits was 106. 19 were for stolen vehicle alerts. 51 were sex offender. And the reason that number is so high is because we have the same set of sex offenders that are obviously traveling back and forth through the city, headed to work or whatever. We had 1 stolen plate. We had 31 for gang or suspected terrorist alerts, 0 for missing persons, and 4 for warrants. Our arrests this past month, there was 13 adult and 1 juvenile. So total arrest 14. First one, as you can see, was a flock hit. That was an unauthorized use of motor vehicle, stolen vehicle, evading arrest with by motor vehicle. Officer Richmond is the one who pursued that. After receiving notification, the vehicle attempted to evade, and suspect wrecked into a fire hydrant and fled on foot. With the assistance of surrounding agencies, we were able to apprehend. The next one is a DWI case we had with the UCW, which is unauthorized carrying of a weapon. That was our newest officer who just got released off the program Monday. He was working with Sergeant Koenig, and they were able to take him into custody. We also had possession of a controlled substance, crack cocaine. Again, that was Officer Richmond, a traffic stop. And you can read the details there as far as how he found PC. We did have a warrant of other jurisdiction, and then again another flock hit with an unauthorized use of a vehicle, stolen car with warrants and times 2 occupants. And they were also made taken down to Fort Bend County, and accommodations were made for them to stay for a while. We had another possession of cocaine, resisting arrest at the same time with a search. This was at CVS for believed at this time. The initial stop was investigative of a suspicious vehicle, and of course that led us during our investigation to obtaining the illegal contraband. And as you can see, the next page, page 6, continued with, we did have another possession of controlled substance, methamphetamine, and 4 grams of heroin. Unfortunately, this person was spotted by one of our officers, Officer Koenig, Sergeant Koenig. Pulled him into one of our businesses and decided that's where they were going to shoot up. So we were able to take them to Fort Bend County Jail without any instance. Same thing. Next one was a flock hit as well, unauthorized use of motor vehicle, and warrant out of another jurisdiction. We had a family assault, family violence arrest, and we had another DWI, which was done by Officer Melisson. Last page is a theft arrest. Again, this was Officer Richmond who happened on this. We got a call from Sterling McCall. The subject was attempting to leave with stolen tires. Having Officer Richmond had some good eye for detail on this one, was able to stop him and take him into custody. We did have another warrant of outside jurisdiction and warrant for failure, warrant other jurisdiction and failure to ID a fugitive was the last one. I did want to go to the last page of notes to kind of update on a few more things, which is page 8. As always, we'll continue with the COVID guidelines. I wanted to mention our full-time dispatcher is working out great. We do have the 8A Monday through Friday until midnight now covered pretty well. And that's Monday through Friday unless something comes up. And otherwise, we're doing pretty well with placing in our part-time to fill that gap. So we're doing well with it. We do continue, however, to look for a 30-hour dispatch position. We thought we had that covered, and we were unable to make that happen. Live scan, our update for that is we're still waiting on our training session. If you recall, this was put out about a year because there's so many agencies that are in line for it, but we are quickly approaching ours, and I figure within the next month. About a month, sir. Flock cameras, the remaining 3 flock cameras that Joe approved have been placed in, so now we have the total of 11. And as you can see, they're pretty active. I mentioned this last council meeting, but I wanted to reiterate the ATV has been ordered, and we're probably about a couple hundred days out for it. Yes, sir. I'm not counting either. Mesa, the door access system that was approved for emergency, is in motion. We'll start with the ones that actually created the motion or the emergency first. Of course, there will be the remainder of the project left that will, once we have that in place, we'll reach out to you again. But that should start within about 2 weeks. ProCam, as you know, we're doing the camera replacement. We're been working on that for a while. We're almost finished with the building. We also have the postal box camera that should go in soon. Wanted to mention, thanks to Rod, we got the pole out there and the electrical run, so we're waiting on just parts for the camera system itself. And we're looking at that to be 3/28. If you look on there, that's the approximate date for them to complete the project. Yes, sir. Will do.
Well, I keep trying to turn it off so I don't say stupid things. I should just leave it on and take my chances. If you would run down to the post office or get them up here to show them what we've done here in Meadows Place. I've got high compliments on you and your efforts, and yours, Rod, by the way, from the folks down at the Troy Nell's mobile office today. So I want to continue that and then show them, because having that there is kind of what really made them feel comfortable. And I said we'd put it in, and I want to make sure that they know we did. So absolutely, thanks.
We got it covered from two points, so we'll be fine. The freeze mitigation with FEMA update, I wanted to give that, as many of you know, that we did receive the $29,604.77 as reimbursement for the freeze that was out of pocket. We didn't get everything back, of course. That's how it is with FEMA. We got a portion. And it was a long fight. I just want to let you know we're over a year. So I wanted to also give accolades to the Assistant Chief, Jack Ashton, who's on vacation somewhere, look at him, and Anna Maria for their hard work, because when I assigned them with that task, I knew what it was going to be, and they did a fantastic job. We're still actively working to fill 5 full-time positions and 1 part-time position. We're hoping tonight leads us even further. I do want to mention, though, the part-time detective position. Bruce Campbell, he is retiring. He has 38 and a half years of dedicated law enforcement service. So if you see him before he departs, please thank him. It's been that's a long career. Yes, it is. And as I mentioned earlier, and I'll just reiterate it, our probationary police officer, Bruno, has graduated from our training program and has now officially started patrol. And as many people do, including myself, when you get that news as a new officer, you smile ear to ear because you're ready to get out there and get busy. So with that, that concludes my report.
Chief, thank you very much. I appreciate all the detail work. And I appreciate the fact that that back page sometimes takes up more time putting it together than everything else. But that's really helpful to council because we do get questions on all those side items, and that really helps us out. I don't know, doesn't work for us, and that really helps us. So thank you very much for that. Council, anybody have anything for Chief?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, and you recognize it, but I do think that the perseverance that the Assistant Chief and that Anne Marie did on that, tracking down that 29,000, working with that type of other agency and trying to keep that going is a challenge. So I appreciate their perseverance. That is a big win.
Yes, sir, it is. Anyone else? All right, thank y'all.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. Item number 2 on reports is from Code Enforcement. Jennifer Cabello is not here. She is out with some sort of something. And she was willing to come in, and Rick said, no, go away. I don't want you here. So, no, that she's wisely staying home, nursing her, whatever it is. So she's sick and not able to. So I've got her report. I went over it with her. I'm going to glance and go through it. Council, you've got it too. For the benefit of the public, I'm going to read this one section. But Jennifer's working every other weekend, either on a Saturday or a Sunday. And that's proved to be very productive and not only just catching people that are working without permits on weekends, but it's given her a great opportunity to meet the public because that's when the public is home. And they're outside and they'll wave her down or they'll talk at her when she waves. So that's she's done a really good job on that. Council, as you can see, she's steady working through these months on the violations. We had a total for the quarter of 273 violations, but she's also closed 305. And that sometimes takes more time to close a case than it does to open one. In cases, speaking of cases opened, we had 203 cases opened and 204 cases closed, which is important because that means we're getting people coming into compliance, and that's the point of code enforcement, is to get them into compliance.
Based on the cases to court, 92% came into voluntary compliance, 8% chose to go to court.
Or were supposed to show up, one of the two. But you can take a look through some of these things on the violations types and numbers. Bandit signs, although it's we mock a little bit, they're a big pain. And you see those areas of town around Greater Houston that don't pursue that as an issue. And it looks junky real fast. So that means she's got to get out and take a tour all the way around the city and then cut through the main streets to looking for those bandit signs. And so we do have some help from Public Works on if they notice some, or they'll grab some, or they'll notify her. Council, I know, does. Certain members of council and myself are pretty aggressive about that. And so we want everybody to know, if y'all see them, don't hesitate to call in and let us know. Her biggest caseload was this last thing, and it's going to be in the newsletter, is trash cans and rubbish visible from the streets. And that's not just her. That's the one that people call in and complain about. So I want to let y'all know that that's where a lot of these are not self-generated here, but they're from complaints by people, okay, that have called in, left word or email. We do have some issues with looking on driveways, side are cracked. 6 of those are rentals. Now, why is that note in there, Council? That's to let you know that she's working with them, and those people are supposed to be coming into compliance, because that's a business. That's not a homeowner's or a homestead. That's a business, and those businesses should be in compliance within this city. And so she's working with them to get in, and working pretty well with some of them. That's why you see a lot of these folks coming in with new driveways. Anyway, we had 273 violations through that quarter, so of all different shapes and sizes. Those are the ones that I hit high because that were an issue for me. If anything else, you have questions or comments, make them now. Okay. With that, moving on to, thank you, Jennifer, if you're listening. Good job. City of Stafford Fire Department. As council knows, we're going to be discussing some potential changes there. We've got a great relationship with the Stafford Fire Department. This last time we had some inspections by the Fire Marshal's office and at Helfman Ford, Meadows Nails, Pro Clips, and the UPS store have all been inspected. But we've also got on the back page the incident types, the date range, and it's everything from trash and rubbish fire, which somebody asked, was that the trash container? Yes, one of them was. EMS crews, et cetera, down there for a total of 47 incidents with our fire and EMS in Meadows Place. It's a lovely thing to be able to have those folks here and have a good working relationship with them. And that concludes fire department report. And one thing, they did complete the inspection for O'Reilly, which means they can, the fire department and the fire marshal did, so they're permitted up and ready to roll. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm ready for O'Reilly's to get put up. So. Next will be city administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. The mayor likes to often say that we have a lot going on in this 1 square mile city.
Yes, we do.
And I'll concur with that. A few items, council, tonight. One of the things you're going to be seeing here in the next couple of months, we hope, the city does have the ability right now to digitize our records, which is something we have a goal for doing. We want to go paperless if we can. But in order to do that, one of the things that we need to put in front of you is some kind of a retention policy in order to follow the state's retention schedule. And so in order to go ahead and digitize these, we would need to follow that policy in terms of keeping and eventually getting rid of records, something we're going to be working on bringing in front of you so we can clean up some of this paperwork that we have on our desks. And it's a good thing to go paperless, so that's what we're trying to work towards. There's an item on the – it has a lot of people. One of the items you're going to see on your agenda tonight has to do with the new generators that we're looking to purchase for one of our water plants as well as our ADC, our EOC. This is a big deal, and I want to emphasize that anytime you can use monies that are not from our own coffers, it's a good thing, especially when you're talking about emergency generators. These are important when you need them, but most of the time they're just there as an insurance policy, so to speak. So if we can use other funding to get them, we want to, and that's a very good thing. You may have seen in an email a week or so ago that we did go ahead and permit O'Reilly's Auto Parts. This can be, you might remember that middle of last year, you all approved a specific use permit for that store right there next to CVS up there. And so they're going to be starting that construction. You'll be seeing that here pretty soon. And then the other thing I wanted to mention, in an effort to always try and be good stewards of money, one of the things that staff did this week, which I'm glad to let you know that we did, Anna Maria came with an idea to move a little bit of money out of our utility checking account to what is essentially our utility savings account. We do that for two reasons. Number one, obviously, it helps make your money work a little harder for you in the savings side. And in addition to that, what we can do is once we get above a certain collateralized limit, we want to move some of that money that's over and above that into a savings account so that we can go ahead and earn more interest on the money and yet still have the money over on the checking account that's insured, so to speak. And so we moved about $250,000 over from the checking and over to the savings account side while still being underneath that collateralized limit so that we're insured and being able to earn as much interest as we can over on the savings side. So I want to give kudos to Anna Maria for thinking about that and being proactive and taking some initiative on that end. She tells me that she listens to these meetings, but I don't believe her, so I'm going to give her a quiz tomorrow and ask her if she remembers what I said in my report. But other than that, things are going well. That's it, Mayor.
All right. The police officer retention initiative that I'm mentioning is something that has started. We'll be working with it today. We'll be talking amongst council, amongst ourselves, with the chief. But this is something that is a program that we're having to monitor on a quarterly basis. I talk about, if not weekly. What do we have to do? And times change, things change, prices change, salaries change, demands in the area change. You have people retiring that you weren't sure were going to retire now or hang around for another couple of years. All of these things are in motion. And I will have to say that our chief of police has worked very, very hard to put a program into place to kind of alert him, come to council, make changes in policy, pay, et cetera, to allow us to be, I'd say, chief, low end of the competitive scale. Would that be a way to do it? Because we're 1 square mile of no money, okay? And we do a marvelous job of dealing with it and trying to make this place your place for life. Takes a police department of the caliber of which we have. And so I'm real proud of the program that he's putting together and working with council on. I love the fact that this council is smart enough to be able to recognize the importance of it and work with the chief on it. Item number 2, demolition. Take a look at your newsletter. There's some outside there. I wrote a little piece on there. I'm happy to say I haven't had any questions or pushback on the demolition of the house that we did. People thought we were taking the house over. That was a concern early on. I think the city handled that portion of it well. It's not something we want to do or get into, but as you can see by the hole in the lot there, that is something that we will do if we have to. Nobody wanted to live by that house. Nobody should have to. It was mentioned earlier about property values. That was certainly a drain on property values for a several block radius. Something that had to be coming down. That's a long and lengthy process to get there. Multi-month, multi-hearing type process. The lawyers are all engaged. And so it's not something that mayor or council can just go, well, that guy ticks me off, and that house is horrible, and we're going to tear it down. It doesn't work like that. And I just want everybody here, everybody listening to know that. If you have any questions regarding those types of things, please feel free to contact any one of your council representatives, myself, or Nick, okay? Because it's important. Annual family camp out. That's something that has really been a hit in Meadows Place. And then came COVID. Then came a freeze this year at 34 degrees. Well, it didn't quite freeze. It was 34 degrees out there. But we had games and activities, quite a crowd out there for all those activities. And that's the type of activities that knit the fabric of a community together. And I was so proud to be able to drive by and look and watch and see those kids, see those families together. Very important. And then that evening, we had police sit out there and safeguard the the campers that did stay out. I wasn't out there, I assure you that, but we had police presence. Keith, thank you very much. That's granted they had heaters, but in those cars, but they were there, and that's a big deal, and I thank them for that. Can't hear you, Terry. But I also wanted to say that, and it's worth mentioning that Colleen went over and talked to the folks at the Starbucks, and because they had expressed some interest in becoming part of the community any way they could, and so they popped up and donated 2 boxes of coffee and 1 box of hot chocolate to the campers. So when they got up to eat breakfast, there was coffee and hot chocolate. And I'm just tickled to death with that Starbucks over there. I'm so glad they're there. But that was a great little program they put together, and I think if it hadn't have been quite so stay over. But anyway, that's it. Those are the types of things that make living in City Meadows Place just fun. So anyway, with that, moving on to item 2, council comments. Dorrance Lane. You got the next 2.
So for Dorrance Lane, hopefully we're approving a contract tonight, so that I'll leave that for later. And then the bikeway is just still under design. It'll probably be another couple months before we see a preliminary design on that.
Okay. Well, how exciting is that, though? It really is. All right, this is where we get into our regular agenda. David, I see you don't have anything on there. We'll have to find you something else to do. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say this is probably the largest regular agenda I've sat through. There's more important things tonight than I've ever been a part of. They're all of them. First item is discussion, consideration, ordinance 2022-09, calling a joint public hearing for the City of Meadows Place City Council and Planning and Zoning Commission to be held on the 26th day of April. This is for signs commercial. So we will be we'll be talking about modifying an existing ordinance that we have. But it has to go through the Planning and Zoning Commission because the sign ordinance resides in Planning and Zoning. Can we move that out of there somehow? Sure. Let's do that. Sometime down the road.
I'll move to hold the public hearing.
Motion to set a public hearing.
Second.
Second by Kurt. All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. Well, that one went so well, let's do it again. Discussion and consideration of ordinance 2022-10, calling a joint public hearing before City of Meadows Place City Council and the Planning and Zoning Commission to be held also on the 26th day of April at 6 p.m. City Hall. This will be regarding a application for a special use permit for a Jiffy Lube over here off the West Airport. So we're going to have a public hearing. Assuming we can get one call. Need a motion to call a public hearing.
Move to have the public hearing.
Motion by Rick, second by David. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Okay, this one is item number 3. What else do we need to do this? It's, I'm looking for my tabs here. Receive and accept the certification of unopposed candidates for the May 7th, 2022 general election from the city secretary.
Move to accept.
Okay, and that is what the language I was looking for is to move to accept the certification of the unopposed members. So have a motion, need a second?
Second.
Second by Kelly. Any discussion on this item? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Well, since we've got that, and we're all unopposed, we have a chance for the election. Discussion, consideration of ordinance number 2022-11, canceling the general election scheduled to be held on May 7, 2022, and declaring unopposed candidates elected to the offices of mayor, alderman, places 1, 2, and 3. Need a motion. Motion for Tia. Tia.
Second.
By Kurt. Any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. 1 second. Okay, I just want to confirm something. Not that it's a factor, but since it's after the fact, I will mention that this does save the city about $7,000. One of the things that we go through this exercise for, is to clear it up and make sure. I mean, we don't need to have an election if we're all running unopposed, and so that's why we do that. Try to be pertinent with our funds. So, item number 5, discussion consideration of ordinance 2022-12, amending the general fund revenue budget for the fiscal year October 1, 2021 to September 30th, 2022, in the amount of $195,000 due to increased sales tax received.
Move to approve.
Okay, motion to approve it.
Second.
Second by Kurt.
It's this, and for the audience, this is based on actual income we're seeing on sales tax. Doesn't mean it can't change if the world changes, but right now we're receiving a lot more on sales tax than what we anticipated, which is good for us, being we're having to deal with an increase to the police salaries mostly coming up later in this agenda, just because the other agencies around us are raising their pay and we're starting to lose officers, so we're going to have to make some adjustments.
But it's also, it means that we don't have that just floating around out there in the gray zone either. So we've had a motion, had a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion carries unanimously. And I know Nick will be feeling better because it's all tightened up now. It's not just floating around out there. I don't mind that so much. Guys. Discussion and consideration of ordinance 2022-13, amending the Economic Development Corporation revenue budget for fiscal year October 1, 2021, ending September 30, 2022, in the amount of $65,000 to their line item for 0.5% sales tax due to the increase in sales tax received.
Move to approve.
Motion by Kurt, second by Dan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, this is item number 7. This is discussion and consideration of ordinance 2022-14, also amending the general fund budget for fiscal year October 1, 2021, ending September 30, 2022, in the amount of not to exceed $129,019 for city staff compensation adjustments. Okay, council, this is part of what we talked about at the last.
I move to approve that we keep our officers.
Okay. Motion by Rick, second by Kelly. Any discussion on this item? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you. Good move, Rick. Item 8, discussion consideration of item 22-15, amending the general budget. Y'all seeing the pattern here? For the fiscal year beginning October 2021 and ending September 30th in the amount not to exceed $60,000 $459 to administration line items, salaries and benefits for the communication director position. Motion by David,
Second.
second by Kurt. Any discussion on this? This covers basically the rest of the year.
This funds for the rest of the year.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item number 9, discussion and consideration of resolution 2022-05, authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with HDR Engineering, Inc. for construction management services for the Dorrance Lane Reconstruction Project, Phase 1. Council, where the rubber meets the road.
Move to approve,
Motion by Rick to approve.
because I don't want to do it.
Sorry, who's second? Kurt? I was laughing. Sorry. Okay, any discussion on this? Rick, you want to tell us a little bit about, for the audience benefit, what this means?
Basically, this will hire HDR to manage the Dorrance reconstruction project. Obviously, our public works staff has their own activities, so we're going to bring in inspectors that inspect roadways all the time, watch utilities, and just help us manage the project, manage the contractor, try to keep him on track.
Okay, we had a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? That one carries unanimously. That brings us to item 10, which is discussion, consideration of resolution 2022-06, accepting the letter of recommendation from HDR and authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement for the Dorrance Lane Reconstruction Project per the recommendation of HDR. Okay, council, this is where spend some money. They have recommended a construction company. Y'all authorize it, we'll sign and execute it, get it moved.
I will move to approve a contract with Statewide Services, Inc.
Second by Tia. Motion by Rick. Discussion down here.
Yes, I think council knows, but we're actually not going with the low bidder. His references did not check out. We're going to go with the second low bidder in an amount of $1,031,975.30 for a block of Dorrance. This will replace all the water lines, some of the, I think, sanitary crosses, the inlets, and then all the streets and sidewalks. We are also going to have to replace a lot of the driveways, some portion beyond the right-of-way, just because of the difference in grades. We're going to go with a little bit steeper grade on the roads to try to prevent the bird bass from coming back in the future, and hopefully that'll take care of the problems.
All right, well, we'll see. We had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, unanimous. Sign that contract and get moving. All right, this is a change that has been long coming. It's been discussed. This discussion and consideration of resolution 2022-07, authorizing the mayor to execute a revised agreement with BBG Consulting for building official duties, residential and commercial plan review, inspections and consultations, specifically to add the fire marshal services. We've had it split before, and it's just we're trying to consolidate our efforts to make it simple for our inspectors, for our permits personnel, and for everyone else to know who to contact at any given time. So this is going to basically move fire inspection, fire marshal services over to under BBG. David.
Question.
Yes, we have spoken with Stafford. They're aware that this is coming.
What's the next?
The next item on the
Next
agenda,
item,
yeah.
we're going to go back and say we're not paying you for it.
I'll move to approve.
And motion by Kurt, Second by anybody? David. Any discussion down here? Motion to second. All in favor?
I'm
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. You happy, Courtney? Now you know why we did it. Courtney, make Courtney. Okay, discussion and consideration of resolution 2022-08, amending the interlocal agreement with Stafford for fire services. We will be not altering our fire services. This is for fire services on fire marshal only. Okay? So I need a motion and a second for 22-08.
so moved.
Motion by Kurt, thank you. Second by Tia. Any further discussion? All in favor?
I'm
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Psst. Watch Rod, I bet he sits up on this one. Discussion and consideration of resolution 22-09, authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Waukesha Pierce Inc., or WPI, for the installation of generators at our EOC training center and at the water plant number 3. These are the generators that Nick was talking about earlier, that those are coming to funds from outside sources. And we, as the taxpayer here, are not paying the freight. And if we could have done it 20 years ago, we would have, but we couldn't. So now we can if we get a motion to pass 2209. Motion to approve by Tia. Second by David. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right. We'll be wearing these kilts tonight. Discussion and consideration of CenterPoint Energy 2022 Annual Gas Reliability Infrastructure Program GRIP Adjustment with Rate Increase. We have talked to, in the past, we have always voted to go no, to suspend, and then when CenterPoint gets done with everything and they fix it all up across the skirt, well, then we'll be effective. So the motion would be to suspend.
I'll move to suspend.
Motion to suspend by Rick. Thank you. Second by Tia. Further discussion?
Basically, for the new members of council, this just forces them to go negotiate with the PUC.
That's the Public Utilities Commission.
Right. And all the agencies vote to suspend just so that they have to go negotiate. It's just not an automatic approval.
And it doesn't mean we love them any less. Okay. So have a motion to suspend by Rick, second by who? Tia? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. You forget what these guys do, but CenterPoints plays a big role in our life. And we do appreciate them. And right now, you got people that live here that are elsewhere in Texas working because of weather and storms and all that type of stuff. And they'd have been down here. And the other day, we got hit, and transformer pole fell over, turned on fire. And next thing you know, we're out of operation on our wastewater treatment plant. And before I could go home and eat lunch, we were back up and running. CenterPoint's amazing in that regard. So thank you very much. Okay. Item number 15, discussion and consideration regarding garage regulations in the city of Meadows Place. We had a public hearing earlier. We took opinion, which was just about as mixed as the people that were offering it up. So now, council, it is your turn to offer some thoughts on doing something if we do anything. We don't need to do anything right now. We can do it. We can throw it out, we can leave it the way it is, we can modify various portions of it. I'm going to ask you to let me dig just a second, pull up the backup paperwork for the discussion on the garage paper. Yeah, here it is. So with that, I just have to say my concern, and I've changed my mind on this. I flipped it back and forth because Charles Teague and I shared more than just first name here on this topic. I felt like it's nobody's business. And then I started thinking, well, I don't have the right to affect my neighbor. And it brought concern to me that if I didn't have one, and if it might affect what my house sells for, that could affect the neighbors. And so I'm kind of up in the air on this thing, and it's something that I think personally we ought to have a garage, but does it have to be as restrictive as it is? I think we've heard from the public today, no. What are y'all thought, council?
I'm going to stick by what I've proposed before, that we do not require a garage for current homes, which I believe there are 2 currently in the city that do not have a garage. One of them was a recent purchase, and hey, welcome to Meadows Place, go spend $45,000, $50,000, whatever it may be. I don't feel that's right. And so I'm proposing we remove that part of the ordinance requiring it on existing homes, but do require it on new construction homes. One thing I would like to include in that is a minimum and maximum. So a minimum of 2-car, maximum of 4-car garage. I got that idea, I believe, from Bel Air or one of the neighboring cities. They do that. Because currently someone could come in and build an 8-car garage with, a house next to it, and I don't know if that's what we really need here in the city. There are several lots that could actually accommodate that.
Kurt, I'd like to interrupt you right here.
Please.
We're looking at some backup data here that mentions garage. Nick did a ton of work looking at references and finding what our neighbors do. Meadows Place is, we just flat dab require every site in the residential district must have a garage, period. It's required. West University Place, required. Bel Air, required in some districts, but not all. Some of them were the new districts that don't have. Sugar Land is not required, which I was caught a little surprised by. Okay, so there's no precedent, no hard and fast rule saying this is the way it has to be. In my life, I grew up, well, you just had to have a garage, and yet I've owned a house that didn't have one over in Sharpstown. So it had instead a workspace behind at the end of the driveway, not a garage. So, council, this is again, I want to reiterate, we don't have to do anything tonight. We can if we want to, if we can come to agreement and decide a course of events. But
I would echo kind of what Kurt said. I think there's 3 separate issues here. One is the current requirement that we have. We meet the letter of that without telling people what they can do with their garage. If it's designed to be a 2-car garage, then you don't have to keep it a 2-car garage. That's kind of, and we haven't enforced it, but I think that's what, when we have a garage, I think that's one of the questions people have. Can I convert it? And I think the way our current code reads, you could if you wanted to. So again, we could make that more clear and just put that if you're going to have appearance of a garage, that's what the requirement is if you keep a garage. I think the other thing is, I think for new homes, if they're going to build, in order to keep the continuity of and if there's only a few that don't have garages, I think that keeping the continuity of the look of the community, having garages is something we want to encourage. And if you're going to spend the money to put a new home here, the garage will be part of it versus an add-on cost after you bought a house that maybe doesn't have one. And then I think the other item is what do we do with the homes that don't have them today? And that maybe want to take one down, because if it's a disrepair, the choice is do you fix it or do you tear it down? So I think we've got to address in our, and I'm not ready to say tonight till I see what Nick's handiwork will bring us as far as crafting something like that. I'd like to see something that addresses those three issues. In the form of
David,
ordinance.
explain your issues again to me. I'm A little hard to hear, and B, I got a little.
The use of the garage itself. So it's
Okay.
designed for garage. It can be used for a converted family room, part, whatever you want it to be, but it has the appearance of a garage. Rick, do you want to clarify
Well,
that?
basically, what I was always told is just don't take the garage doors off.
Right.
You know, you can do whatever you want behind those, the car entry. But, and I think that's the way it is if it has garage doors, it's designed for a two-car garage.
Right.
Whether those doors can physically go up or not, I don't know that we care.
Right.
I don't.
So that's one point, is what you do with your garage. We just need to make sure that that's clear, so if somebody wants to do something with the garage, they keep the doors, that they don't have to say, well, they still have to get the permits, whatever. The second thing is existing property that doesn't have a garage or that wants to remove a garage, that we allow that, and we have something there. And then the third is new homes.
Okay, so that's where I was a little bit confused. So if I'm sitting there and want to take my garage off,
Yep.
you're saying fine.
Yep.
Then why are we telling new people they have to have one?
It's totally new home construction, not new people.
What's the
to
difference?
rent.
What if they build it up and then want to take it off?
They built it to start with. I think that amount of money that they're going to have to put into the house, to me, it gives us a consistent look of a new house. And I think it also limits the house so that you don't end up with a overly oversized house with no garage.
We've got requirements to control that.
That's what we need to put in that ordinance then. Just that.
But see, that's my difficulty with it, David, and I'm stumbling over it, okay? Because we can't sit down there and say, well, you've got an old garage, so go ahead and tear it down if you want to. But if you decide to tear the house down and build a new house, then you have to have a garage. You're telling me that you have to have a garage on a new house because it maintains the integrity of the neighborhood. I think a garage maintains the integrity of the neighborhood anyway.
So I would have to agree with that. I think saying if we think it's important for a new construction to have it, then why is it not important for our current homes to have it? I've been on the fence back and forth on this issue. The particular house that we're talking about, if you look at the pictures, you can't really see the garage. So to me, it's like, it's not really a big deal. That being said, hearing the actual neighbor that lives next door, that had a lot of weight for me to hear what that person had to say. The other thing is driving around the neighborhood, even though you can't see that garage, there's some that you can see very well. And if they're gone, it would kind of be a hole, there would be an issue. Does that mean we're going to get more carports, or even though they're not allowed, are there going to be other issues that are going to come up in that regard? But I'm with you, David. I think it's twofold. One is I think we should be able to convert our garages. It is your place for life. If I have my mother-in-law or somebody else that want to come in and I want to make space instead of move, I should be able to do that. I do agree that it should look like a garage from the outside. I've driven through some neighborhoods recently where they converted them and kind of walled them off, and you can always tell. It is very obvious that it used to be a garage and it is no longer a garage.
It doesn't look so good.
Park
Yes.
Glen has quite a few of those that are
Yes.
quite obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah, very obvious. So I think it's a couple of issues. I think we should be able to do it. I think we need to talk about, how we go about letting people do that. But I think you should have the right to do that. That's your home. You should be able to convert it if that's what you want to do. but I'm really having a hard time about the actual garage itself. I think you're right, Kurt. I think it's really crappy that somebody bought a house and then you're like,
And they didn't know about the ordinance.
They didn't know, and it's like, welcome to the neighborhood. You need to spend $40,000 to build a garage.
I have a question. Okay, since you, and I know you've given it thought, and T, you always come in pretty well prepared mentally for this type of stuff, and I appreciate the heck out of it. So let me ask you this. We have a couple of houses that don't have a garage at the moment. One of them is about to build one, I believe. Without being just ugly about it, is there a solution in your mind?
So that was my next comment was, yes, I think that it's hard to welcome somebody to the neighborhood and say, you know, you need to build a $40,000 garage. I don't think it's right to start finding somebody $1,000 a day until they come up with $30,000 or $40,000. So I don't really know exactly what the solution is, but maybe it is a plan. Maybe it is, hey, you need to have a plan to replace this garage over this amount of time. I don't expect anybody to come up with that money overnight, but there does need to be a plan to replace it, I would think.
Does the length of time affect you at all?
I don't think so. As long as there's a plan in place. I mean, it doesn't need to be, you know, completely open-ended. But I also think, and I don't know how this, Kurt, you know a little bit more about this, but should the realtor have more say of what our ordinances dictate? Just like our driveways, just like garages. I mean, I know that's hard. People sell houses, they don't necessarily know those things. So I don't know if that's actually something that can happen.
So if there's a notice of violation that is given to the seller, they are supposed to disclose that to the buyer. Does it always happen? No.
Yeah.
And that's a tough one because then, hey, there's a messy lawsuit and, hey, the city might get named on this because it's our ordinance. That's another reason why I don't know if I quite support that.
And the issue is no chain of custody, if you will, because it's in the ordinance, and it's in the ordinance now, and it's available to anybody and everybody, including realtors. But if you're driving down the street and somebody says, well, what about that house? And you were cutting from Park Glen to Sugar Land, oops, yeah, let's take a look at it. Well, I want it. That research may not get done.
Exactly.
Who's responsible for that? I find it a hard time laying that on the realtor because they're an agent, but they're not responsible in the same way that an owner is. It falls back to it's the owner is responsible for that stuff ultimately. But I mean, most of us we're so excited to get a dang house and wouldn't think about that. I'm kind of like T. If there's a plan in place, I don't care if it's 25 years, as long as there's a stop date on it, then I'm okay with it.
So are we forcing that person to build a garage before they can sell the home? Because that's also a crappy thing
No,
to do
I
to
think
someone.
that-
I lose a job and I need to sell my house.
I think it goes right along with the house. The plan goes with the house.
And what kind of plan is it? Is it an engineered set of plans or is it just...
No, there's a plan in place saying we're going to have this garage built by December 31st of 2040.
And what if they don't?
If they're not, that's when you start hitting them with the fines.
What if they don't have the money? There's so many...
And you know what?
And this is...
If ifs were skiffs, we'd all have boats.
And
What they can do then is go sell the house. If they don't have the money, they can go sell the house and can't afford to live there.
I think this issue is something that is not going to come up often at all. And
I
right
think-
now it's twice. And
Yep.
and there may be more homes in the city that we don't even know that they don't have a garage.
And how many
because-
have we discussed?
Sorry?
And how many have we discussed?
2.
Exactly.
So I
Rick, you've been here a long time. How many have you discussed?
Before this, none. But I think what really generates this for me is the complaint. Neighbor doesn't have a garage. Ordinance says you need them. Why isn't the city enforcing its ordinances? And so, that's why we're here discussing it is we either enforce this or we change it. And I was originally one saying you got to have a garage because to me it just feels weird somebody wouldn't have a garage. Kurt, you convinced me it doesn't really matter on the sale of this house what it is.
And it really doesn't affect
And
the
so
neighbor.
do I care whether my neighbor tears down his garage, uses it for a basketball hoop, puts a 10 by 10 storage shed for his little things, and has a yard crew mow his lawn? I'm not looking in my neighbor's yard. I don't care. And so I'm kind of at the point where we just nix the need for a garage, whether it's an existing house or a new house, and let the market decide. I really think most people are going to have a garage.
I agree. And I think anyone building a new house is going to have one. And if I bought a house in Meadows that didn't have a garage, I'd build one. Or if I had the funds available to do it.
Right.
So I think it'll honestly work itself out. And then it's less that we have to try to deal with or enforce or write rules against,
Well, Rick,
whatever it may be.
So I guess what I would do, though, Kurt, is I would vote against your proposal simply because you're forcing the new guy to do something we're not requiring the existing homeowners to do. And I'm saying we treat everybody equally.
And it's not going to take much to convince me to agree with that either. I mean,
Yeah, same
I don't
for
know
me.
anyone building a new home that doesn't have a garage part of that.
All right, I want to stop right here and say, you talked about something I think that is critically important for the city of Meadows Place. We have an ordinance on the books, and you need to either enforce it as it's written or modify it, adapt, or change it. This is a tough one, unfortunately, but I feel that that's very important that we do that. It's very important that we do the best we can to provide a situation that everybody here in the city of Meadows Place is happy with, or most of them will be, and that it's in everyone's best interest and the best interest of the city. Now, I want to put that back up because from individual perspective, I think that's pretty simple. It's my house. I don't need a garage. I don't want a garage. Tear down the garage. Okay? Is that what's best for the city? I don't know. Times have changed. Right now, the housing market's so hot, the garage really isn't a fact. 5 years ago, I think it would have been more of a fact. 5 years from now, it might be more of a fact because you're putting your family in there to live. I don't know. That's my point. We have to do what I think is best, what we think is best for the city. And I don't have an answer for that, but I do think Rick is right. Whatever we do, we got to come up, make this ordinance we live by, and modify. Am I hearing that we want to modify, basically? Is that what I'm hearing most of? Okay, so I got a lot of head nods down there from modify.
Okay, I just had a resident text me. We can stipulate that all new houses have to have an attached garage integrated in the home, and that would mitigate anyone from tearing down a garage after the fact.
Oh, you mean building it and then?
Yeah, so I'm just reading my
Yeah.
text I get.
I wouldn't require it to be attached. That's not fair. Part of the reason why people like Meadows Place is we have larger lots than new developments. We can have detached garages because we have the lot space for it. I don't want to take that away. Yeah, I don't want to take that away from people.
So for me, looking at 153.073, if we just eliminated number 3, which says every building site within any residential district must have a garage as defined in 153.016, have we addressed the problem?
You could actually remove both because I think that's the only place garage is referenced in the code book. We could double check that, but yeah.
Well, but I guess we should, instead of that, we should say may have instead of must have. That way we keep the definition of garage, and then the definition of garage, whether we need to clean that up and say it's got to keep the garage doors or not, that's kind of me up to the attorneys.
No, it's not. It's up to us.
Well, does that go with the we can't regulate building material at that point?
No, not necessarily. Let me submit this to you guys from a city staff perspective. When we look at these ordinances, we always look at it from the place of, is it enforceable? And when you think about a detached garage, right, that's pretty easy to identify if somebody knocks it down. But if it's an attached garage and they convert that attached garage into a bedroom or a kid's playroom or a poker room or what have you, we may never be able to find that out until perhaps the house is sold or something else, happens. And yet, the consequence of either one of those things is the same from the city perspective, right? So one of them's a lot more easy to find and one of them's a lot more easy to hide. So from an enforcement perspective, we got to be careful as a staff. I mean, we never want to be accused of selective enforcement, but some of these are going to be a lot easier and more obvious than others, and yet the ordinance says to do the same thing for both situations. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but it didn't make it any easier.
No, it doesn't, and it doesn't make it any easier for staff, and that's what I'm trying to say.
Well, and that's kind of why I'm saying, if we just have something that somehow states that they have to keep the garage doors in place, whether it's attached or detached, they can put sheetrock 6 inches behind that door and do whatever they want in that room. Air condition it, playroom, whatever. And then as far as we just changed must have to may have, now we've made it optional on whether you've got a garage or not. You can do it attached, detached, whatever you want. And I think it just kind of addresses the problem.
So, Rick, let me toss something out that's going along with what you just said. Let's say that we've got a garage here, attached or detached, doesn't matter. But as you drive by the street, it looks like a garage. And for all intents and purposes, it is still a garage, even by this definition. You're just not using it to park cars in.
Right.
Well, most of the people, I won't say most, a great number of the people here couldn't get a car in there on a bet. Okay, so.
I got to move a couple of saws and I can get in my garage.
But with that would do it. Now, the problem is, Nick, jump in here if I'm just wrong. I think that the wording is going to have to be such that I think we're going to have some issue with the wording.
Rick's idea would probably be the simplest. Just repeal it.
Well,
and just do nothing.
But if we repeal 3, which then takes out the definition of garage, then we can't say that they have to keep the garage doors.
Because
And we do have to be kind of careful on the design because, obviously state law won't let us determine what materials people can use.
Yeah,
that
they
kind
know
of thing.
better. Jerks. In case you're listening.
So we do have to be careful. I'm not sure if that would pass legal muster to say you have to have something that looks like a garage.
Would it be fair at this point, Nick, to say let us put this aside? I think you kind of got a direction of how to see what we can word and check with legal to see if it passed legal muster.
Well, to me, being an enclosure designed to be used as storage of at least 2 automobiles. Let's say that all of a sudden the new owner wants to start storing cars back in there. You knock down one wall, put the rails back in, and you got a garage again.
Yep.
That's why I say you can't change out the structure of that front wall, so that the garage doors are gone.
Because that you're maintaining a garage.
Right.
You just changed the purpose.
Right.
Can we word that out?
Yeah, that's a definition question. I mean, instead of saying designed to be used, we can say something a little more loose, like can be used or
may be used.
Could be used, something to that effect, yeah.
Let's do that. Councilors, are y'all okay with calling this quits and moving on to the next one? Let's try to put some language together to allow us to may use the garage. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we've got that portion of it tied down. What about the portion of we got a couple houses?
So what this would mean is that if you do have that detached garage, you can't demolish it. but you can definitely convert it if you'd want
Correct. And what happens to we've got an issue here. We've got 2 homes that we're aware of.
No, if we change it to may have a garage, they can tear that garage down.
If we go to may have. I think everybody's okay with that.
to. So number 3 down there would basically say every building, instead of must have, says may have.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. And then up top on the definitions, we would say it's an enclosure that could be or can be used in the
Can be,
storage. Yeah, we can do that.
Yep. Yep. That way we're treating existing homeowners the same as future homeowners, giving the homeowners the option of what they want to do with their garage or the garage space, and we can just kind of move on from there.
We're just getting away from the musts and the shalls and getting to the mays and the cans. Keep in mind, council, that just like most everything else in this code book, this is in the zoning ordinance. So in the next meeting, what we do, once we have the direction that we need, then we'll create an ordinance. We'll get P&Z to give you guys a recommendation, and then we can change it.
That means we're going to have
Yep.
a public hearing.
Can we add it on to the public well,
We've already got 2.
we don't have time to.
Those other 2, well, one of them is going to be a non-event. The second one may have a couple people show up. We can have 3.
You can't add it to April 26th because it has to be called by ordinance and it's not posted on the agenda.
Okay.
Can we do it, and then, can we call a quick special meeting and just do one item to?
Absolutely.
We
Okay.
could.
Absolutely.
We can do that.
It
We're
just has
Meadows
to be,
Place.
it just has to be called by ordinance.
Yeah,
So.
so we can do that as a quick one-item agenda,
5-minute meeting.
5 minutes.
Perfect.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, nobody's going to show up on the sign ordinance.
What? You don't know that. Man, we're going to pack this joint.
We had a dog attack and nobody showed up to talk about the dogs.
Yeah, but that isn't a sign. Okay, moving on. Oops, I need to flip this over where I can read it. We are at this point moving on to item number 16. Discussion and consideration to create a new Chapter 96, special event permit procedures in the City of Meadows Place Code of Ordinances. Basically, we've got a form that people have to fill out. Man, it's a good form. It just then gets put in a drawer. So we're trying to put together an ordinance regulating the parameters on special events, defining them, et cetera, and it needs to be put together. It says in here, staff has gotten together to brainstorm. Good for y'all. So Nick, I would appreciate it if you would share some of the things that y'all have come up with, because this is really more complicated than we thought it would be.
Yeah, what's the minimum number of, where does this get triggered? What number of people?
Well, let's look through here. I haven't had it memorized yet. A lot of this, believe it or not, we took the existing form that we've got on file and we copied and pasted. We also grabbed a few special event permits from other cities, picked out what we thought were good and important for staff, and also inserted those. Just so you guys know, when we created this, we got together the senior staff, including Parks and Police and some others. Or
Public Works.
PD was there, but in Public Works, and created this with all of those departmental impacts in mind. I don't know that there is a threshold for number of attendees. Really, if you look at the very first, what a definition, on the definitions, that triggers what a special event would be and what would need a permit. So it would be that non-routine organized activity within the city limits involving the use of or having impact upon city property, city facilities, city resources, parks, sidewalks, etc. So despite the number of people, if it has an impact upon any of those things, then we would require that special event permit.
I guess from my point of view, I don't want to start catching the birthday parties in the park with 20 or 30 people. Or I want to start, I don't want 250 people to show up at the park and they're throwing litter everywhere. That's the one I'm worried about. And so to me, we need a number threshold where this triggers in. And it's not about what the event is for. It's, are they going to overflow the garbage cans? Are they going to overflow the bathroom over there by the kiddie park?
What you could do is under 96.01, you can put that number threshold and say "and has an impact upon city property." So you can say X number of people and also has that impact upon.
I will say along those same lines, I went out to the park one Sunday after I was coming back from church, because the Saturday evening, that you couldn't find a parking space. The pavilion was packed, and they were having a birthday party, and they were cooking out, and they had all kind of stuff going, and they were drinking out of can containers, following all the rules, and then the next day, everything was packed up. Now, the garbage cans were overflowed, except they were all in big garbage bags. There wasn't any loose stuff. I don't know. I think those people, if I were to have picked a number, say 150, they might have gone over it. So is that the kind of thing you're having in mind just in case, or how do you do that?
Well, I think they have to put in a deposit.
Yes,
Let's pick a number of 50. And they put a deposit, and then if our staff goes out there and there's trash everywhere, you don't get the deposit back. But if you clean up after yourself, then the deposit comes.
Item number 17 for events held on city property. And that's the ones I care about. It's conditional refund, a deposit of $200 up to $200 per people, 300 numbering 201 to 500, and 500 more for 500 more participants, if applicable. And they'll be issued a refund within 14 days of the event if it's cleaned up.
And
does that cover what you're concerned with?
Well, one is cleanup, and one is when you get to a certain number of threshold, I think they should have to hire off-duty officers too. And it's
cover this, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, let's say the yacht group gets together and wants to have a bunch of play boats out there on our lake, and they're bringing in 750 people. Do our officers have to monitor that? Or do we say they've got to have their own police at presence? Because I don't think our officers want to have to be out there watching over 750 people.
Well, we're not going to have anybody in the city if they are. I mean, that's the other half of that.
And I think that's the whole purpose of this is if you're going to have, you've got special event. I consider it large event. And, at certain thresholds, you should be required to do different things. One threshold is have a deposit. Higher threshold, have your own off-duty police officers. I don't know how many of you remember when the church wanted to go in where TDA is, and they were going to have a congregation of over 5,000 people here every weekend. And we were like, okay, how are you going to enforce that? Because our officers can't handle your activity and our activity.
See, we've got a thing in here about the applicant shall reimburse the city for the cost of police protection, security, and crowd control.
Well, no.
But, Chief, let me ask you. We're sitting here floundering for a number. I think the numbers also decided, depends a little bit on what the activity is. Okay? At what point do you say, hey, they need to get outside?
Well,
is there a number you're comfortable throwing at it?
There are several variables besides just the number. There's alcohol served or what's going on. When you get into those where they can impact the services of police, let's say that we have a traffic problem, they're parking illegally, they're blocking driveways or anything like that has an impact on our services, then yes, we're going to have to get involved, and it's going to take away from those services. As far as a number, if we're talking about a park event, It would be wise to have a certain threshold. I don't know what that number is, whatever you decide, that if they're going to have it where they're going to need to hire off-duty officers, and I would suggest that you do first right of refusal to RPD, since we're familiar and can get our resources there quicker than another jurisdiction. I hope that answered the question.
It started right around it.
I'll throw some numbers out as, you don't trigger this until you go over 50 people. Truthfully, if you got 53 people, we're probably not going to count your group and
enforce your rules, Rick. Enforce your rules.
And then maybe it's 150 people, you start needing officers.
So typically, and I run several extra jobs, I'm just letting you know, off-duty jobs. And typically it's at 100 people, you start getting it where you need officers, and it's usually 2. And if you're going to have alcohol and you have 150, it's 3. So you could put those parameters in there. And I'll be glad to help with that.
Yeah, I'd say let's get the chief's list of, where do they use, most events trigger officers and kind of go from there as far as the officer side.
You're going to be the one that's going to have to live with it.
Yes, sir.
And I mean, from my perspective, if 100's comfortable for someplace else, we need to bounce it down to 75. I'm okay with that too. Okay? And saying, hey, come out here with 75 people, you need to be hiring Meadows Place police, off-duty police officers.
But
first refusal.
Well, first right of refusal. We can't work everything, but at least if we are able to, our radios are going to get our department.
So let me just confirm something, that everybody is in agreement that we need a special events ordinance. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was going on that. Chief, thank you very much. Yes, sir. We've already got a great form, so we might as well have an ordinance, right? Have numbers on it, though. No, it doesn't have ordinance on it. All right, so.
But, from council point of view, is 50 the right number? My parents' family was large. There were 10 in my dad's family, 7 in my mom's family. When we had our family get together, we would easily bust 50 people.
Yep.
Right. So is it 100? I mean, I'm just throwing numbers out there.
To a family reunion on that side. So.
My other question is, how does this affect some of the other events we do? The school does the Old Town Meadows, those kinds of things. Does that fall into this as well, or how does that work?
Yep.
Yeah, it's all about the definition. So if it does impact city facilities, city property, city resources, then yes. And some of this is discretion. So the way this would work is once they fill out the application, it would then get routed through staff. And then the different
You'd have a multiple sign-off type thing?
Correct, multiple sign-offs, and the different department directors would look at their plan, look at what they're doing, whether or not they're serving alcohol, et cetera, and then the staff would be able to determine whether or not we need to go ahead and move forward with more information, et cetera, before we actually issue the permit.
Okay, so what about the deposit area? Does PTO have to come up with a deposit as well before, as this?
So the way the county handles this is, there are fees to use certain of the county events or the tents or things like that. When certain nonprofit groups want to use it, it just comes to Commissioner's Court and they waive the fee. Okay. So we could waive the fee.
But y'all are meeting every week.
Correct.
They don't get planned sometime till 2 weeks out.
Well, I mean, they're
well, then
it now.
if you didn't plan in advance, you got to come up with a deposit. But I mean, Old Town Meadows, to me, we might waive it for the first year, just if we adopt the ordinance before the event, or make this effective 60 days after we approve, just for things that might be in the works.
Gotcha. Good idea.
I would agree with that.
And then, once it becomes, Old Town Meadows is a yearly thing, they should know once we get it in place.
Okay, so we are where? We are through discussing we've determined that we want one. Secondly, we're waiting, and we're going to get some input from the chief. We'll sit down, pick a number.
Yeah, insurance is in there.
I don't want, if you would remind us that this thing should be effective at some date in the future. Whether it's 60 or 90 days out there, I think so. and we'll put this back together, and we can just do this next month if it's ready. Sure. Okay? So, with that, we have discussed it and considered it and determined how to create it. So we're going to move on to item number 17, discussion and consideration regarding a flashing school zone sign on Dorrance Lane.
Okay, this is something I wanted to discuss with council. It's been well over a year now, but I remember running into an officer one day after school, after he had just written a ticket to someone speeding through the school zone. I said, man, what were they thinking? And he said, well, they said they didn't see the sign, they didn't know it was a school zone. And ever since then, that stuck with me. And now I know it could be an excuse, could be true. We don't know, but
I turned my head. I wasn't.
There, I understand. I give people the benefit of the doubt too much sometimes, but every day, a lot of days, I'm sitting in my office. I see it very often where people they do look clueless that it is a school zone on Dorrance. We have one little sign, and I think people have become accustomed to seeing the flashing lights at beginning of school zones. If you think about the schools around us, Barrington, Dulles, Sugar Mill, you name it, almost every school you can think of in the ISD has those flashing lights, at least on the main thoroughfare there, where people know it's a school zone. I see speeders every day. Some of them are speeding because they want to speed and they don't care. Some of them are speeding because they don't know it's a school zone. I wanted to bring this up because I'd love to give another tool in our box to keep our kids safe. Honestly, my kids cross the street every single day. Tia's one of them crosses that street every day. We see it. We see the speeders. If we can add another little layer that can help people realize it's a school zone and please slow down, I'm for it. There is a cost to it, of course. Cost is $7,500 a piece.
And maintenance cost for now
on? Should be a one-time cost. I'm sure at some point there'd be maintenance, but
I guarantee you there's going to be maintenance on them.
We'll see.
Now on.
Okay, I think it'll be worth it.
And that's the decision, Kurt.
And they are solar powered, so.
Now, I got a question.
Hold on, they would be solar powered, so we wouldn't have to run electrical lines to it.
Or Brighton? I just Dorrance.
Dorrance is our busiest street, and it's also the cut through. So many cars are cutting through Meadows Place out to Derry Ashford that don't live in Meadows Place, aren't familiar that there's a school there, don't look at the little sign that says school zone. Those are the ones we need to target more than people going down Brighton who are actually going to pick up their kids.
Is that 7,500? Is that a smart sign, meaning it off and on when only during school?
Hey, Rod,
only during school zone. It's programmable.
Okay.
Yeah, they're programmable, and if we've got the system in place, you can actually program them remotely.
Rod, when are we going to be having traffic counts on Dorrance?
Those are completed, sir.
They are completed?
They are completed.
Okay, I hadn't gotten a report back.
Okay, I'll get it to you.
Okay, well, let's go over it tomorrow. Council, and this is what I was going to say. We've got traffic counts on Dorrance. We've just had them done.
Yes, sir. We had 4 locations: the Dorrance at the community center, Dorrance at the dog park, Montecito at the wastewater treatment plant, intersection of West Airport, Kirkwood.
Right. So
that was a video recording.
So we've got some data, so we'll be able to look at this data. Kurt, the reason I'm not, and I go out there often enough, not like you, but often enough. It's always been my contention that there's not as many people speeding as we think. This will tell us. I want to have that information.
It doesn't tell us how fast they're going, does it?
Yeah.
So it'll say from
Yeah.
3:15
Now, I have
until
not seen this one.
until 3:45.
Depends on what we ordered.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was this
It
video?
was the cheapest we could get.
Then you're probably just going to get counts.
Yeah.
okay.
I would assume.
And that's fine, because we're getting ours back, and they did tell us how fast it was. Okay? But I just want to bring it up, if everybody,
So Charlie was used to when we were running our own counters, it would give us both speed and volume.
yep,
The counters we have were so old we couldn't even get them repaired.
They're still in their hands. We've started the repair cycle. I'll have to complete it, but that'll increase the value for resale.
we
They're
were
old.
going to have to upgrade to them software anyway.
Yeah. And
You give me a radar gun, I'll have fun. And then the days. Sorry. We should.
But here's the deal. Those things, and I've gone round about this with Rick on these things, on like you're speeding, or you're now 37 miles an hour. I can do better than that. Let me get a try. But I like those signs. I think they're absolutely a use of technology. Once you put them on the agenda, you got to say yes. Nobody's going to look out there and go, well, I don't want to put school signs up. But in this case, I think it's something, and I think we ought to just go ahead and do it. Rod, have we got the funding that would come, I'm assuming, out of your budget?
Yes, sir.
Have we got the funding? We're looking at 2 items, $7,500.
How much?
7,500 each, so we're looking at $15,000.
We can do that. I've got that in some of my street fund.
Okay. So we won't be getting anything repaired, we'll be getting signs. All right, well, could be your house is not getting there, but we're gonna get those signs, they're gonna be great. That's my opinion. So what do we have to do to go ahead and do that?
well, just the traffic engineer needs to tell you it's got a limited
Life.
life. Once they've been up for a few weeks, it's going to be the same as the static signs. They either care or they don't that they're in a school zone.
Or it's someone that's cutting through for the first time and doesn't even know there's a school there.
And
There's
but I can tell you on West Airport, on any of the other streets, there's people that just don't care. That light can be flashing and they're going to just go unless they see an officer.
Yep. There's no way to determine the effective rate.
Yep.
I'm not so sure it's as high as it once was.
Too bad Terry Henley left. He'd have been coming up to speak going, and back in my day, we didn't need these flashing signs.
We were smarter. Okay. Rod, that's it. Thank you. Okay, council, y'all have heard that we can utilize the funds out of the road fees. Is that what we want to do with these?
Can I make a motion on that?
I don't think we need to. Just a concession of agreeing. It's not 50,000. Okay, make a motion.
All right, I'm going to make a motion to purchase and install 2 of the flashing school zone signs on Dorrance, both east and west of the school, at the school zone line. Yeah. I believe that's it.
Yep. Got a motion.
Second.
Second
Put the
by
wording in there when flashing. Back in the day, I got busted by
you
Bel
don't.
Air.
No.
I had to pay a fine in the middle of the night because they were flashing.
No, you got to keep the times on there because if the flasher
So that's a no. Is that still a
Yeah.
second, Kelly?
Yes.
Okay, we got a second by Kelly.
if you put when flashing and the sign malfunctions, then you can't write tickets on it. You got to have the time
I would assume
clock.
that doesn't take up our whole street fund as
It's going to take $15,000
Yes,
for
but
it.
we still have a balance to address issues as well, yes?
$15,000 less, but yes.
Okay,
So
just
let me
making sure.
and let me ask a really deliberate question before we do this. Where exactly are these 2 signs going to go?
He just stated on the,
At the school zone line,
School zone
east
lines.
on Dorrance, east and west of the school.
The first approach one as you get there now.
You okay with that?
So, I mean, I can get with Rod on that. We probably need to check buy board. These might be available on buy board.
We'll look.
Let me know what manufacturer it is, because there's a couple out there that don't have a great track record.
Okay.
And so we'll want to make sure we get one that has a good
Got it.
quality.
And to answer your question, I have $50,000 in that budget item
For the rest of the year?
for the streets, yes.
If you want to maintain that amount of money, we can always ratify this at the next meeting, bring a budget amendment, and fund it that way. It's up to y'all. Or we can absorb it in the budget, either way.
Let's just absorb it in the budget for the time being.
Yeah, and if a need comes up, we can address it then.
Now, since you're asking specific questions, if Rod and Rick get together and decide that where Kurt and I want to put them isn't exactly where they need to go,
We can either use our administrative latitude.
okay, we're using administrative latitude.
Beautiful.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. All right. Consent agenda. Motion to approve. Got a second? All in favor? Any opposed? Nothing. Nothing. Okay. What have I got? Now we need to move into
Audience comments.
This is item G, audience comments for items not on the agenda. Anybody who wants to come up and talk to us, you get 3 minutes. Can you do what?
Senior Village, you're just going to do an announcement.
Yeah. Okay, I talked to Sharon. She's the new manager at Meadows Place Senior Village. We are going to do the Easter project. I will be collecting Easter eggs, candy. Don't give it to me too early because I can be tempted. Little goodies for the bag and stuff like that. And hopefully delivering the week of April the 10th. We've always in the past, Easter, Halloween, Christmas, etc., done 200 plus bags thanks to our residents here. So I posted on what's happening, and I'll be hopefully getting the word out. You can Venmo me the money. I do like money. Thanks.
I have a
Okay,
question.
Kelly,
Are you going
send
to
me
post
a-
a link for maybe an Amazon wish list?
Yes, as soon as I get home, I'll work on the wish list. I'm going to see if the elementary students can decorate paper bags for me this year instead of doing the cellophane ones and put a more personal touch on it.
Okay, y'all can do all that. Do me a favor, shoot me an email, and I'll get Tom to pop it up, and we'll post it up. That's a neat thing, and y'all really work hard on that. So if we can get you some support, we will. Okay, so since Kelly gets to be a member of the audience, I'm going to be a member of the audience. Check me out, and I'm going to hit start for 3 minutes because I know I need to. I'm very pleased to announce that City of Meadows Place, according to the people that are working for Congressman Troy Nehls, said that we have had the largest turnout to his mobile office. We had that today between 3 and 6 up at the community center. A lot of folks were there, myriad of different things. Some of it was state stuff, but they'll still take the message back. But a lot of it was federal stuff, and a lot of it was people coming by and saying, hey, I just wanted to meet you, let you know we appreciate you coming to Meadows Place, that type of thing, which they very much appreciated. Plus, I got some kind of magnet in a goodie bag. But it was kind of nice to see Congressman Nell's staff sitting there with nothing but high accolades about Meadows Place. I've invited them back. Colleen, in case you're listening, then they're going to do a staff day in our Discovery and Nature Center. But also, I wanted to say, and I mentioned it earlier, David, they were very thrilled to have met you and to have appreciative of your work. And Rod, they said they were really tickled because apparently they came out and checked our pad out there when we said we put it up. They came out and looked, and yeah, we really did. Meadows Place is in good standing right now with Congressman Nehls. They're going to talk to him tomorrow and tell him that Meadows Place had a great turnout and was very interactive. And I think we had a really good way to end it up with Charles Teague, me, and Bruce, and they probably left out of there going, I'm sorry, I got to go. But anyway, it was great to have him here. Thank you to everybody who turned out, and we will be having it again. So thank you very much. All right. That wasn't on the agenda. I had to go there. What can I say? Okay. With that, we're moving on to, oh yeah, that's where we are. Item G. Yeah, we had two of them. And from people like Mary who said she's here, she wants to start attending and trying to find out what's going on and getting involved. Man, I appreciate that. Joe, that's about how you started. But thank you very much. With that, unless somebody wants to come up and speak to us, we're going to recess the regular session. We're going to go into executive session. Don't know how long that's going to take. Is that on at 7:30? 8:15. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Rob, we got to get that fixed. 8:15, okay. So, calling a recess at 8:15, moving into executive session. You said an hour. Well, you didn't. You created the process of working. Oh, Rick's here. Yes, this is item J. We are here. We're going to reconvene. Everybody wave to the cameras. J1 is discuss and take appropriate action regarding the duties of the chief of police. Council, I need a motion to add the $12,000 stipend to the duties of the chief as an emergency operations director stipend.
I'll make that motion.
Motion as read or stated.
I'll second for discussion. I thought we were going to make this standalone so that if, when the chief retires, we can look at who it goes to.
Right. Yeah,
It
so
is as, okay.
a stipend for the position of emergency operations.
Currently held by,
Currently,
police chief.
yes. Yep.
Correct. Police chief.
Right.
And remember, you guys approve that every year,
Right.
who it is going to be. So that's a once a year.
right.
Right.
That's why I wanted to make sure it was not police chief. It's the
Does the motion need to have anything about how it's paid out, or does that matter?
Well, my understanding is with it being a stipend, it'll be a separate line item in
Yes.
his pay.
Yes.
It
But
will
we'll
not just
divide it
fall
by
under salary.
26
It'll be
pay
paid,
periods.
it'll be paid every 2 weeks.
Paid every 2 weeks, okay.
Yep, okay.
So we'll put on here paid biweekly
Okay.
as a separate,
Line item.
yes.
The chief keeps good notes on what he does too, huh? Okay. We had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, item number 2, discuss and take appropriation on the evaluation of city administrator and resolution number 2022-10, amending the city administrator's agreement. Council, we all just went through that, so I need a motion to amend the city administrator's agreement, scratching items 1 and 2, 1.1 and 1.2, and plugging in the appropriate salary.
and we're changing 1.1 to indefinite term.
Okay?
We're moving the,
We're amending
Term,
it.
we're just moving it under, you would just have it under term, Rick, right?
Right. So 1.2 goes away completely.
Yes.
1.1 just changes to once more.
Up here. Gotcha. How many people does it take to make a sentence so far? 1, 2.
Well, so far nobody's moved on this.
Okay, so. Have you got the figures? Okay. So we've
Crickets.
got the motion, city secretary has it. Do we have a motion to do this?
So moved.
A motion by Kelly,
Second.
by Kurt, David.
Or Tia, I think we both said at the same time.
I'm telling you.
Getting slap happy. It's so late.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
I counted 5. Actually, I counted 3.
Two can play at this. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. Item K. If there's no objections, we are adjourned.